Welcome to Concrete Block, your premier source for in-depth analysis and discussion of current events. I'm your host, Walter, and we're glad you're joining us today. We've got a compelling story to share with you, one that raises important questions about immigration policies, national security, and the rule of law. The Trump administration has been making headlines lately with its efforts to deport alleged gang members to El Salvador. The latest development in this saga involves the deportation of 17 individuals tied to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua and the MS-13 gang. According to the U.S. State Department, these individuals were transported to El Salvador over the weekend, despite an ongoing legal challenge to the administration's use of a rarely used wartime law, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Now, this law allows the president to detain or deport non-citizens deemed a threat to national security. However, its application in this context has sparked controversy and concerns about due process. The American Civil Liberties Union has filed a lawsuit arguing that the administration's use of this law is unconstitutional and violates the rights of those being deported. One of the key issues at play here is how the administration determines gang membership. A court filing by the ACU reveals that a checklist called the Alien Enemies Validation Guide is being used, which considers factors such as prior criminal convictions, self-professed membership, and even tattoos, clothing, and hand gestures. While these criteria may seem relevant, experts argue that they are not reliable indicators of gang affiliation. The White House has defended its approach, stating that a range of criteria is used to ensure that individuals qualify for deportation. However, the fact remains that some of those deported have denied any involvement with gangs, and their families have questioned the evidence against them. As we delve into this complex issue, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and evaluate the implications of these policies on individuals, communities, and the broader societal landscape. We'll continue to monitor developments in this story and provide you with thoughtful analysis and insights. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a complex and timely issue that's been making headlines lately. As we explore the topic of Trump's presidential terms and immigration policies, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and examine the facts. Recently, President Trump has sparked controversy by suggesting he might seek a third term, which would require a constitutional amendment. This idea has raised concerns about authoritarianism and the potential dismantling of democracy. On the other hand, some of his supporters argue that he has the right to run again and that the term limit is not set in stone. It's also worth noting that Trump's immigration policies have led to a wave of reverse migration, where people are returning to their countries of origin after being deported or deterred from entering the United States. This phenomenon has significant implications for the affected individuals, as well as the countries they're returning to. To better understand this issue, let's take a closer look at the numbers and the stories behind them. According to reports, hundreds of deportees have been sent to prison in El Salvador, while others are struggling to rebuild their lives in countries they may not have lived in for years. Meanwhile, the U.S.-Mexico border has become increasingly fortified, making it more difficult for immigrants to enter the country. As we navigate this complex topic, it's crucial to approach it with empathy and nuance. We must consider the human impact of these policies, as well as the potential long-term consequences for both the United States and the countries affected by reverse migration. To provide some context, the two-term limit on U.S. presidents is a relatively recent development, dating back to 1951. Before that, there was no constitutional limit on presidential terms, and Franklin D. Roosevelt's unprecedented 4 terms in office led to the introduction of the 22nd Amendment. As we continue to explore this story, we'll examine the potential implications of Trump's policies and the ongoing debate about his possible third term. We'll also discuss the importance of understanding the complexities of immigration and the need for comprehensive reform. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block, folks. We're wrapping up today's show with a thought-provoking discussion on international diplomacy and statecraft. As we've been exploring the complexities of global politics, it's clear that effective leadership requires a delicate balance of power, persuasion, and cooperation. Let's dive into the story at hand, which highlights the challenges of navigating relationships between nations like the United States, Iran, and China. The article suggests that President Trump's approach to dealing with Iran's nuclear program has been largely focused on coercion and sanctions, but may be more effective if coupled with inducements and diplomatic efforts. It's interesting to note that the International Atomic Energy Agency has reported that Iran already has 6 bombs worth of near-weapons-grade material, which raises concerns about the country's intentions. Meanwhile, China's role in this equation is also crucial, as they have significant economic interests in the region and may be able to exert influence over Iran. The key takeaway here is that good statecraft requires a multifaceted approach, combining both hard and soft power to achieve realistic goals. By working with allies and partners, the United States can increase its leverage and become more effective in addressing global challenges. As we consider the complexities of international diplomacy, it's essential to remember that every nation has its own interests and priorities. Finding common ground and building alliances is crucial to achieving success in this arena. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.